Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 4 of the Blockchain Bay podcast. Today, Joe is interviewing Big Dave and Akiba from CryptoSlate.com. CryptoSlate.com is pretty much an all-in-one hub of information in the cryptocurrency space, and I personally have used it a lot more since this interview to get my crypto news. Feel free to check it out. Once again, that's CryptoSlate.com, crypto, CRYPTO, slate, SLATE.com. We hope you enjoy.
Welcome back to another podcast, and today we have Big Dave and Akiba from Crypto Slate. We are going to talk about everything crypto. I want to get a background on both of you, how you started in crypto, what you do. I believe you both are techies by trade. You write for the Crypto Slate website and manage that during your day. Take it away, whoever would like to start first.
Yeah, I can go. So got into crypto in about 2024, mining Dogecoin, hilariously. I was running a marketing agency in the UK. We did a lot of video production. So we had a whole office of video editing machines. So every day when people finished work at like 5, we taught them how to start the Dogecoin miner. Then they went home. Then they'd stop it in the morning when they came back in. And yeah, there's a funny story with that. With all the Dogecoin that we mined at the time, it was not very much in terms of value, and it was less than the electricity. And we stupidly decided after a year or something that we might as well just sell it into. There was a company near us called Scan, which is a really good computer hardware store, and they've accepted Bitcoin since like 2010 or something stupid. So we just converted to Bitcoin and bought a HDMI cable, which is in the office somewhere. And during the bull market last year, that HDMI cable would have been worth 6 figures. So that's my introduction into the crypto industry, which was hilarious. We all, even people that are early, obviously don't always make it out on top. Then carried on running the agency until like 2020, I think it was. And then during lockdown, started writing again, which is my first love. I actually got my start in business as a film director and writer, making films. So I went back to that sort of world, writing, and decided that I wanted to actually participate in the crypto industry rather than just kind of watching it and talking about it and not really doing much about it. So I started writing articles on the macro state of the financial industry and how crypto can help change that. And in 2021, end of 2021, I decided that I was really done with marketing. I never enjoyed it. I was just good at it. And went full time with Crypto Slate. So got rid of my business, stopped doing that, and actually went from running my own business to working for someone else. And that was actually, strangely, the most liberating thing that I've ever done, because the team at Crypto Slate are incredible. Matt and Nate, who run the company, just fantastic business owners and bosses. And yeah, I've been writing with them now for over a year. I'm one of the lead editors there, and I produce the podcast. Used my kind of experience from the video production world in the crypto space. And we interviewed Joe recently on a podcast that Dave and I have set up recently called Gathering of the Gigahash, where we're going around talking to different miners and kind of getting a lowdown on what they're currently doing during the bear market. So, I mean, Dave, over to you on that.
So I'm Big Dave. I mine cryptocurrency now currently. I still mine. I haven't stopped mining at all. Actually met Akiba merge day, I believe. When he was doing like an 18-hour stream or some crap.
Yeah, so I was trying to figure out exactly when the merge would be. Obviously, we couldn't tell exactly. And I was trying to get, I think we had like 30 guests on the podcast that day, like from MetaMask, Consensus. Who else do we have? People from Polygon, like people all over the EVM space. And I was trying to aim it for 4 hours before the merge and 4 hours after. And obviously, as miners started moving off the network, it got further and further and further away. And what was meant to be an 8-hour live stream turned into like 14 hours or something stupid. And yeah, Dave was with me for a lot of that. So we got chatting.
Yeah. And I started mining cryptocurrency originally back in, I guess it was like 2011, back on like AMD cards. It was, I don't know, it was just sort of like a thing that I did for fun. I enjoyed the blockchain project. Like Satoshi was active still back then, like when I first joined. So that was kind of cool. Um, I ended up getting out of crypto, ended up life, doing other things, and then I got diagnosed for the fourth time, stage 4 neuroglioblastoma, which is brain cancer. And so, like, instead of having to have someone else take care of me while I go through treatment, I went and I put $40,000 into graphics cards and whatnot. I refused to pay scalper price, which I ended up doing through like scalp bag deals, anyways. Just ended up with a bunch of like motherboards and crap just laying around. like, like building a computer right here, in fact, out of a bunch of those parts. And yeah, since then, I've had a lot of free time, obviously, going through treatment and stuff. So I started doing like hella research on the projects. I mined Ethereum at the start. I started getting hesitant on mining Ethereum just because I felt like they were kind of crapping on the miners by like doing what they were doing. And like I know it was part of like the end goal of Ethereum to be not mined on GPU to go proof of stake, you know what I mean? But the fact of like the core miners supported that network for so long, like so long, so much longer than they even foresaw going proof of stake. And I don't know, I just started looking at all these other what everyone calls shit coins, and started looking at all these other projects, started talking to miners and YouTubers and going into various different spaces. Since then, I've made a bunch of like high profile friends in the YouTube space. I've made a bunch of high profile friends in the mining space. Um, I've talked to just about everybody just to find out what's going on and what to mine, what to not, what not to mine. I like spec mining right now. It's kind of fun because it is altcoin season. Like it's not really profitable to just sit on one coin. Not as profitable to just sit on one coin as it can be to mine altcoins. Like
Yeah.
currently I've
So
been
now,
mining this.
real quick, what you mean by spec mining is mining a newer coin that is not on the exchanges yet. Maybe it's on smaller exchanges, but really getting an abundance of them in case that price pumps.
Yeah, exactly.
So
like
my audience is a mixed bag. Some of them are very new to crypto. Some of them have come from the GPU side. So I always try to break things down as simple as possible. But that's what a lot of people are doing in this bear market right now. Go ahead. Sorry.
so like I find projects, I do research, like research on the developers, the projects, where they came from, what their use case is, which is like a huge thing. Like if a project doesn't have a use case, I can't get behind it. I can't mine it. Like I just mentally it doesn't make sense. Like why am I doing this? Who's utilizing this network? And if the answer is no one, then it's like, nah, I can't do that. If the purpose of the network is a meme, then it's like I can't do that. It's the reason why I didn't get on like Pink Chain or Doge or anything like that. Like I know Doge has since become an actual network, which is kind of funny, but it's just like I don't know. That's just where I come from, really. I don't know. I kind of love cryptocurrency. I love helping people figure out their rigs and problems and stuff. When I got into it, I stuttered so bad that I didn't want to talk to people. I used to fumble my words and stuff. Like I was relearning how to like talk. And so like I did everything myself. It took me like 16 hours to figure out how to set up Hive. Because like I remember like I went to school for coding and programming, but that's all gone. Like it might as well not be there now. Like the certificates are useless. So since then I've been learning a bunch as well, and helping to dev and do alpha testing on a bunch of miners that have been coming out for other spec coins.
So I did pin the Crypto Slate URL in the chat.
Thanks.
You guys in the chat, go ahead, take a look. And your channel for YouTube is also just Crypto Slate. Now, can you can you give us a little rundown on what you guys do there, as far as what type of content you're producing, what your mission is?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, there's two parts to the crypto slate. So one is news media, so just reporting on what's going on in the industry, and the other part is a data directory and research. So we've got a ton of data. You can basically use Crypto Slate similar to sort of CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko in terms of the data. But we have things like different sectors. We have like proof of work coins, proof of stake coins, dedicated POS. Like for Dave, there's a cannabis industry section where you can go and look at the cannabis related tokens and such. And our researchers work really closely with like Glassnode and Nansen. So we do a lot of sort of detailed reports from them. We're currently building out this quarter a new on-chain product, which is going to be with Access Protocol, where you'll be able to get access to even more sort of data and insights through staking tokens on Access Protocol. So we're kind of moving into being an actual Web3 business ourselves rather than just kind of reporting on Web3. But the reason why I joined the company was I was looking for sites to write for, and I was writing for Benzinga at the time. And flicking through the back end of the site, I found that there's literally a page on the Crypto Slate website, which is how we make money. And that level of transparency was something that just really blew my mind. And then when I spoke to the editorial team, the focus on sort of accuracy and integrity were paramount above everything else. And in the crypto industry, there's like a running joke that like crypto journalists aren't real journalists. And I think that can be actually true for a lot of sites in the space. I'm not saying that I don't want to stop my next sentence having just said that, but that aside, you've also got issues with like Block recently having ties to FBS being a huge big scandal. Obviously, CoinDesk is owned by Digital Currency Group, which is the company behind Genesis and Grayscale, which is also in a lot of trouble. So one of the things that I'm really proud about is the fact that Crypto Slate kind of doesn't have any tarnished sort of history or past. It's super transparent. The people that run the company are doing it for a love of the industry and a love of blockchain. And like, if one of our advertisers screws up, like we'll write the article about it. Like, there's nothing in terms of editorial that gets like, if I want to write something and it's factually correct, then I have full sort of leeway to do that. And I'm not necessarily sure that's the same with some of the other people in the space. They've got a lot of, say, the funding or ties to big projects. We're fully independent. And AJ, who's our chief editor, his goal is to make Crypto Slate into sort of like the Financial Times of the crypto industry, something that can be sort of trusted, respected, doesn't have an agenda. You could argue whether that's the case or not in Web 2, but from our point of view, everything we report on, we make sure is correct. And that's kind of one of the things that I really love about working with Crypto Slate, and the ties that I've made with projects like Dave was saying about kind of top people in the space that you've met. I've been sort of blown away at the amount of people I've been able to meet through doing this, and kind of my Telegram is now full of kind of senior people on pretty much every network. I almost got killed by CZ as well. When I was at Paris Blockchain Week, his bodyguard almost pushed me down the stairs. He was trying to push through a load of people, he pushed me out the way, and I literally stumbled down two or three stone stairs outside. So even almost got murdered by CZ. So I absolutely love the site. Obviously, like just like with everything, in terms of like security in crypto and stuff. So you don't just trust one source. Like if you want to get your news, like go to multiple places. But the one thing I can say from knowing the inside team and coming from Web 2 into Web 3 is that if it's reported on Crypto Slate, then it's being checked and there's no agenda behind it. And that's what I love about it.
Anything to add to that, Dave?
Crypto Slate kicks ass. Like I've been using Crypto Slate for like my news research legitimately for years now. Before ever meeting Akiba, I was on their website when I saw that they were streaming for the merge. So it was like I was doing research for other YouTubers, because like behind the scenes I feed people, topics and ideas and stuff. A bunch of our friends. I don't know. And I I haven't actually formally got to talk to Nate, but from what I've seen, he's an absolutely great human. A little shy, but like a really, really great human. Like I want to give him a hug and be like, "It's okay, man. Don't worry, Dave's here." You know what I mean? Like, looking. But yeah, the company as a whole seems pretty solid. They seem pretty open to their writers doing what they want, how they want. I love the fact that when Akiba shot the idea of running a YouTube and a stream, that they were all about it. They said, "Yeah, hell yeah, go for it." And like it's just that kind of they have like a blockchain mentality in a formal company, I guess. Like that's like when Akiba was saying like all their accounting and everything is like just right there. Like everything's just for everyone to see. It's very blockchain-esque in the way that they run their company. And it's
and not doubling
done.
down on leverage and YOLO bets. Like the company
and they don't
surf for
ads. You know what I mean? Like they don't try to get like tons and tons of people to come in. Like it's products they believe in, if anything.
Let me personally thank you guys and the ladies and gentlemen over at Crypto Slate for your work, because the crypto and blockchain space needs more of this. People who are honest, who believe in this industry and who want to see what's best, who want to get actual factual information out rather than promoting an agenda. Probably one of my biggest irritants of being a YouTuber is watching the misinformation that's spread by someone who wants to sell affiliate codes or someone who just needs more clicks.
So on that, here's an actual example of it. So there's a project called Core Blockchain that I invited over to Slovakia to go meet to see their infrastructure and see what they're actually doing. So I went over there, made a video while I was there, and after seeing everything, I was really blown away with what they're doing. I think they've got a huge mountain to climb to get anywhere, but the actual infrastructure, it feels true to the mission of crypto, that it's peer-to-peer. It's proof of work. It's designed for sort of IoT devices. It's definitely something you should look at, by the way. And while I was there, I can connect you to the team. While I was there, they offered me an ambassador role to help kind of grow the ecosystem. And I sort of said to them, I was like, "That's fine, and I'm open to it. But if you want me to carry on reporting on anything, then I can't do it." We decided to go ahead with it. And now, as a result, I won't cover any core blockchain related topics on the website. I'll pitch them. I'll put them in our pitches channel. If another journalist picks them up and writes them, then they will write them. But in terms of like conflicts of interest, the journalists won't write about projects that they're involved with in any way at all, which is the complete antithesis of what you're sort of saying is going on elsewhere in the industry. Like I literally took a step back and said, "Cool, I'll be an ambassador of the project, but I won't report on it anymore," because no one's going to trust it. No one's going to believe it. If I've got ambassador for core blockchain on my Twitter description, who wants to read an article from me about it? Because it feels to be biased. As much as I will still call them out if they do something that's incorrect, I can do that on my own Twitter, but I can't write an article about it because no one's going to believe it.
Well, and they shouldn't. It's the efficacy of media, or what used to be the efficacy of media, where it's not, brought to you by Pfizer. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just,
no kidding.
It's not that aspect. And I love it. I don't know, since just doing some podcasts and stuff and having the ability to reach out to people, and the fact that people know who it is, like getting a bunch of like devs and stuff in, which is going to be kind of cool. Me and Akiba haven't really like talked about that yet, but yeah, I got the Nexa team coming in for a podcast.
It is awesome to have your own platform. It's great to be known within a community. I mean, for me, having this platform means forming serious opinions and having meaningful debates, whether it's on live stream, a video, putting together instructional material, just helping further the community along, and the people who are just new here, helping them find their way so they're not ripped off and taken advantage of. But I really like how it's, I get to bring on people like you two gentlemen who have substance, who have opinions, have something that you'd like to discuss with the audience. But I can also bring in people like Travis, who's here in the audience. He's come on my live stream before, and he's a wealth of knowledge. Or other people directly from specific communities, or other people like to mine any sort of crypto, but you get to kind of direct the conversation in the manner you want it to go. Like I said, I try to do it objectively for the better. And I know I'm a little abrasive and can be opinionated, but I value honesty.
You're like a Downy sheet compared to me, buddy. I'm sorry.
Good. But I mean, that's important, and that's why, like during this whole bonk thing that's been going on Solana, like there's 3 articles that have covered it on Crypto Slate. One was talking about the massive gains, like within on the first day when it got popular, but the article like clearly points out like what do we actually know about this project, and like saying like nothing, so it helps investors. Then after that, it was a detailed breakdown of the holders who got airdropped it, the fact there's no white paper, and then reported on it crashing by 140 million or whatever. Like if they see a new project, either we won't cover meme coins at all, but if they become part of like the meta, part of the zeitgeist, then we'll cover it, but in a way that is just neutral and gives people an insight into what's going on. So I think that's like this whole bonk thing. Like you look on, say, crypto Twitter, and everyone's just talking about the gains. It's all the crypto bros. Like, I'm going to make my money. But ultimately, like you're saying, Dave, like if it's not got any substance or any structure, any utility to it, then it is just you're just gambling, which is fine if you want to gamble, but know what you're doing. Like, and that's the big difference.
I used to be a firm believer of if it didn't have a white paper, I wouldn't mine it until I started seeing projects arise that came from the developers of other projects, and they arose through like being visible, going like, we don't like this needs to be fixed. You're not fixing this. Now we're going public with it. You're not fixing this needs to be fixed. What the hell? Okay, you're not fixing it still. We quit. We're making our own. Bye. And then so like the build up to the why it exists kind of doesn't really need a white paper.
Yeah.
And a lot of white papers nowadays just kind of seem like a media hustle.
Yeah, it could go both ways. It's certainly.
Yeah.
And here's the thing why some projects don't have white papers is because this is a pet peeve of mine. There's many developers who just don't want to do the documentation. They don't want to go through the hours of revising that crap, and they're more concerned and focused on the code. And I understand from a sense, but you have to look at the broader picture. But that does happen.
Yeah, and the reason for that is there's a lot of developers in the space and a lot of people with big ideas, and not enough actual business people at the end of the day, because ultimately these are businesses that need to be run, and they need to be run properly. And so much of this, like, so I do still do some consultancy as well with projects, and that's kind of why I'm an ambassador for Core. But when you're looking at what's going on, there's tons of projects that are live and still have crap documentation for developers. Like when you compare it to Web 2, the ability to pick up a Web3 project and just get started it's terrible. So we do need to bring kind of the best of Web 2 into Web3 and make sure that, but then try and also kick out the crap, like the overabundance of VC funding, like we've seen coming out during this this bear market, which I personally view as pretty much the same as the dot-com bubble. Like that's what we're going through right now. We're getting rid of all the fake projects, the projects that have no substance, the ones that are never going to make it on a long time frame, the grifters that are taking advantage, SBF, Do Kwon, etc. And that's why I'm actually so bullish when you go to events like sort of end of last year. I was at ECC, I was at Zebu Live, I went to Paris Blockchain Week, I went to Istanbul, and every single one of them, no one's talking about the price of Bitcoin or any other crypto. Like no one's checking the portfolios. No one cares what the price is. It's just workshops and conversations about how to carry on building an infrastructure and improve the user experience of Web3 to get it in line with what's going on in Web2.
It's the same people that were here before the bull run. Every time. And that's those people. That's how you got to measure a metric, is who was here before the bull run and who's still here. Whether it's the devs behind the project were here before the bull run,
and are still here afterwards, whether it's a new project or the same project.
And
But
and outside of that, a lot of the people that come into crypto, not all of them, but a lot of them during these parabolic bull runs are people that are looking to make a quick buck, which is absolutely fine. And we've all done it. We've all traded during the bull runs and tried to maximize profit as much as possible. But that's not the core use case of crypto. It's not buying low and selling high. It's changing the financial system of the world. And that requires a big infrastructure, and we're nowhere near that yet. So your last guest, he was talking about we need the crypto bros in order to get adoption. I actually don't agree with that concept, because those are not the people that will stay long term. What we need is to continue improving the user experience of everything in Web3, so that, and the use cases, make it so that your mum, your nan, your aunt, your dad can do something with Web3 and not have to learn a whole load of new terminology and like have like lessons from the kids on how to get on board with it. And they're the people that matter, and they're the people that come in the next 5 to 10 years. And it's a long-term play. And yeah, you can get really rich in the meantime if you get things right. But like, I'm happy if Bitcoin trades sideways now until the next halving, which I expect it to do. Just keep on buying whatever crypto projects you like, what has good infrastructure. And like, say, Helium is one of those that, like, the overall infrastructure of it, like when you look on the Explorer and you see all the dots all over the map, it's amazing to see that that's come from a community. It's come from, that's not, for the most part, unless I'm completely incorrect with this, from like big corporations buying hotspots and placing them around everywhere. They're all in people's homes. And that infrastructure, I think we talked about this on our podcast, can also be reallocated to other things in future. And the fact that technology is there, that's one of the most exciting things for me, that we have this potential peer-to-peer network that's already in place.
That's why I need to get one in my hands. Like I've helped set people's up. I just have never had one. So
I want to ask you guys what your definition for Web3 is. Everyone varies a little bit different. It's a very widely used term, but if you were to quantify Web3, what would you summarize it as?
Blockchain enabled infrastructure.
Yeah, programs built on the blockchain is exactly what I was gonna say. Like,
yeah, so I mean, there's a
like video games built on a blockchain.
I see Web3 as any application that uses blockchain as the core part of its technology. And then there's also a term which is Web 2.5, which is becoming more and more popular in the sort of consulting space around bringing current Web 2 companies, traditional tech and SaaS businesses, and helping them figure out how they can take advantage of blockchain technology with maybe just a part of their business. And the first step for a lot of those has just been, let's launch an NFT project. Why? Because we can. Okay, great. You go do that. But there's projects like, I was talking to a VC at a near event that I was moderating, and he was talking about a very, very, very well-known fashion brand that is using blockchain for their supply chain management by using NFTs. They're not calling them NFTs, they're just calling them vouchers. And what they're doing is they're using the redeemable vouchers so that they can track where they were purchased, because this huge company still has no idea where people are buying their products from, because when they ask them, they lie and they tell them they bought them from the more expensive store than when they actually got it from on discount somewhere. So they're using NFTs as part of their infrastructure. That's not going to make the price of any token go up, because it's not related to anything else. They're just using blockchain technology for something that has a real world implementation. And that's something that is like, there are such things as private blockchains. We're not going to get rich off them, but they have a lot of power. And like, that's why I consider myself like a blockchain maximalist. Not Bitcoin, not Ethereum, not any form of crypto. It's the core concept of blockchain and what that can do. And it's actually not that sexy at the end of the day. And one of the big problems that we've got with Web3 is so many of the Web3 projects talk about how many transactions per second they can do, or like how easy their wallet is, or how it can be integrated to different things. you don't see a social media app talking about how their new app is built using React Native as the main selling point for their website, because no one gives a crap. They talk about what it's going to do. And that's, for me, the sort of the issue that we currently have in Web3 is there's so many techie people. We love the tech part of it. We want to rant and rave about the tech, but ultimately the end user doesn't care. They just want to know what they can do with it. And I think Helium definitely suffers from that, in that other than mining for it, what can the average person do right now? So I know you only asked what is Web3, and I sort of also then talked about what's wrong with it.
You answered another one of my questions, which was going to be what is your, I guess, your niche or your favorite subcategory in the
gaming.
crypto space, whether it be
Web3 gaming,
blockchain, Web3, tip-ins, DAOs, DeFi, whatever it may be. But Dave, you go ahead. What was the first question I asked? What's your
definition of
Web3?
Yeah, like Akiba said, pretty much anything that uses blockchain as part of its like core integral part of its operations. It's kind of like a new-ish term, and people need to get like accustomed to what the different layers are. Like there's layer 1 Web3, layer 2 Web3, layer 3 or Web3 as well. They're all kind of all misconstrued. Everybody has like all these different things that everybody's saying, and they have no real idea what the hell's going on. For me, it's just any project that has like blockchain in their core. If the blockchain wasn't there, the project couldn't exist. And like poof, gone. And that's the key aspect, I guess, to it. One of the really cool Web3 projects that I saw was from Zilliqa, actually brought to my attention from Akiba here. They had like this console that like they had their own hardware wallet on the console. The whole console, when you weren't playing games on it, and I played Web3 games. So that's kind of cool. When you weren't playing games, it mined for you, Zilliqa. And so like I thought that was kind of cool. The thing looked like this beastie. It almost looked like a laptop that was closed, like a gaming laptop that was closed. It was really cool looking. And I don't know. I guess that's my definition of Web3.
What's your favorite part about the crypto space? Blockchain, DAOs, tip-ins, Web3?
None of the above. None of the above. My favorite thing about the crypto space is people like you guys. It's the community. It's the miners. It's the people that want to build the projects. It's the devs. Like I've been working with WildRig dev for the last, I don't know, a month and a half. That guy's just a freaking savage. He's in the Ukraine. There's bombs going off around his ass, and he's still sitting there coding for like when he was off work. When he's on work, when he's working, he's still coding, by the way. But when he's not working, he's coding for like 18 hours a day for a miner that he doesn't essentially make all that much from. Like there was a bounty for the one code that we were working on, and he made $10,000 USD to build that open source miner for it. So he did that. And like that's kind of cool. Like the projects that are supporting the miners, supporting the dev teams of the miners. It's kind of awesome. That's my favorite part.
I find it really hard to find a part, and when we have kind of beats, I don't really tend to take any sort of beats in terms of my reporting, because I'm interested in so many different parts of it, like the potential, like DAOs, the potential for DAOs to change the way that business and politics is done around the world. I think I was interviewing a guy from Coin Bureau, and he said that he thinks that DAOs are the biggest existential threat to politicians that there's ever been. And I find that fascinating. Like it's going to take a really long time. We need to improve things, but the potential for a DAO-based infrastructure to actually be a part of governing sovereign nations is just fascinating. But in terms of a short-term...
ultimately, just because it's blockchain, it's governing one nation. It's like humanity. You know what I mean? Everybody's all like gung ho about all the one world, one government, blah blah blah. It's like, nah, man. Like, there's
Can you elaborate on the DAO, the Decentralized Autonomous Organization?
Yeah, please.
The structure, what all goes into organizing that? Because I think there's a lot of ignorance or misconceptions around that particular subject, even though we hear them shoehorned into just about any project in the crypto space, because it's the cool thing to do in many areas of crypto.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think there's, in terms of sort of the DAO infrastructure and what I'm excited about, it's the ability to have a publicly auditable, secure governance. Because the thing with DAOs, where people sort of miss, they think, oh, well, if you can't use DAOs for governments because it's all on chain. But again, you can have privacy enabled blockchains, and you can utilize that, like the cabinet or the Senate, whatever you have in your it's called constitution, can have its own private blockchain that is only available to certain wallets that can then vote on specific matters that need to be kept private for national security. You can then have a public blockchain that's utilized for, say, national elections and the such. And the ability to, like, at the moment, the way that most DAOs are run, it's obviously the more tokens that you hold, the more voting power you have, but that doesn't necessarily have to be the case. It could be like you could airdrop one token to everyone in the country, and that's their vote. They could choose to delegate it to someone else to vote on their behalf if they wanted to. And the fact that it can all be transparent and you can be as involved as you want to with the voting process and politics, it is something it's amazing. But in order to get there, it's a long-term horizon. In the short term, sort of local issues can easily be managed through DAOs by sort of taking, say, like local government. I'd love to see local governments looking to implement more DAO-based infrastructure so you can actually get fair, democratic voting in a way that everyone can audit it just by looking at the blockchain and see whether the votes from the wallets went to the right place. You won't have any sort of upset about potential of like
where a corporation doesn't have a voice.
Yeah.
Where a corporation doesn't have a voice. Where
where
every wallet doesn't, count, it just
there's obviously there's loads of difficulties you need to deal with, because obviously like corporations could airdrop tokens for votes and things, so you could try and pay people to get your votes, so there's a lot that needs to be done to get that to work, but I'm super excited about the transparency of what we can do and the decentralized nature of it. It means that you can spin up a business, start a DAO, and allow anyone that wants to get involved, and that's great.
Wondering if you could use like the NFT locking measure, because like there's a measure to like lock the NFT to your wallet. I'm wondering if you could do that with like the voting system.
Yeah, I mean, you use soulbound tokens, for it as well, and the such. But in the short term, it's definitely gaming on blockchain, which has me the most excited. I was privileged to be one of the judges for the game award, the game with the 3 awards this year from PokerStarter, and I got to speak to and see a lot of gaming projects. And the thing that really blows my mind with gaming blockchain is that the user experience is far beyond anything else, far beyond DeFi, far beyond sort of DAO-based structures. They're looking to ways that you can bring, like there's games on Web3 that you don't need to set up a wallet in order to start playing. And then you can create your wallet at a later date once you've realized, oh, there's some value in this. And now that gaming has moved away from this sort of, it's very much a pay to win mentality, that it's all just about how much money you can make, and then that also makes you better at the game. When you look at games like Axie and the such, and moving more into like the ability for players in a game to be able to get rewarded for doing really high difficulty tasks. Like you think of like World of Warcraft has a system where you get a really rare NFT drop for being the world's first to do a raid, and then you actually have that NFT that only how many people is in a party in WoW? Like 5, 10, something like that. 10 people in the world have it. that's going to have value. People, if they then decided, okay, I'm done with WoW, you can sell your NFTs, sell your collection, and move on to another game. And that really helps for game developers as well, like balancing, because like when you make a game now, you need to balance it for your casual gamers. You need to balance it for gamers that have kids. You balance it for hardcore Twitch streamers.
It might be a way to get rid of all these stupid microtransactions in these games, like where you're buying skins and buying this and buying that and all these upgrade packs. And it'd be a way like everyone could access it because they're playing the game and then they have a way to gain the currency while playing the game. So
yeah, exactly. But it should be done based on skill-based activities rather than just clicking buttons. We don't want a whole world of people just clicking a button in order to earn revenue. But then there's also like from the games developers, like they can put like a 1% royalty fee for every NFT transaction. Then even when the game servers go and people are just trading those NFTs as collectibles, that game studio is still making revenue. Like it's a way, like you don't need to think short term, like how can we make a new expansion for our game with the most microtransactions to make loads of money. You can just build a game that gradually grows and evolves, and over time, the more popular the game is, the more people are trading the items. You're making revenue just on that alone, and people aren't going to care if it's like 1% or something when they're just trading stuff between people. So that's the industry that's the furthest ahead. And my view is that Web3 gaming will probably lead the next bull run because they don't care about the price. Like when you're playing a game and you're utilizing blockchain, whatever the price of Bitcoin in doesn't matter for you. And
yeah, what's that game? War 3, I think, which is a Web3 project. I think it's called War 3. It's like a COD type of game.
Right, okay.
It's a shooter. The one
and there's loads. Like the amount of games built on Unreal now in Web3 is crazy. Like my favorite one's a game called Big Time, which is like a dungeon crawler. And it's amazing. Graphics are incredible. And to start playing that game, you just log in and you start playing. That's it. You can log in with a Google account and then link it to a wallet later on. Like get gamers in and playing. So I think I actually feel that Bitcoin may follow.
You don't send me an invite to this awesome game.
I can get you an invite to Big Time.
It's because I'm white, isn't it? It's because I'm white.
It is. Yeah. That's
exactly straight white male. Gotta hate on me. Yeah, I get it.
Are those your pronouns?
Yeah, straight white male, straight white Jewish male. I'm the most hated demographic on the planet.
Nice. So, all right. So back to the discussion. Can you really dumb it down to why you would need a blockchain for any sort of gaming, right? What transactions exactly are you tracking? How does it benefit the game? I'm not too much of a gamer. I can understand a few of the reasons.
Like the skins. Like, for example, you could get limited skins that are then bound to your wallet. So if they try to ban your account, it's still on your wallet, right? Mm-hmm. If the database gets still hacked sell it or off have a glitch, it's still in your possession. Exactly. So like you'd still have like a seed phrase and so forth and so forth to like recover your wallet if that ever were to happen.
I mean, it's very much in the culture that we have today is very much a renting culture. We rent everything. We don't buy DVDs anymore. We pay for a Netflix subscription, and you're just renting access to things. Games as a service, which is one of the most popular, like Fortnite is a prime example of this. All those skins that you're buying in Fortnite, you're just renting them, from Epic, because if the game goes down, those skins are gone. And
if they ban your account, the skins are gone.
And there's an argument that, on that basis, well, what does it matter if the game's not there anymore? Why do you want those things? Like, I've got a shelf back there full of N64 and Mega Drive games that I don't know where my Mega Drive is anymore, but I just love it as a memory. It's a collectible. And in a world that's moving more and more digital, then digital collectibles will always be a thing going forward. It's just how they're implemented. But there's plenty of things that you can do with blockchain and gaming. It's not just necessarily about the skins. It's also about things that cost money for game developers. Obviously, developing the game itself. Once it's out, it's maintaining the game, and obviously, it's managing the servers. And one of the things that they all miss for me is the fact that they need players. That player base is a resource, and it should be something they actually have to pay for to a degree. Like, people play to play the game, but once they've started playing, The game developers don't want to lose those players because otherwise they lose more players and the game falls down. Whereas by utilizing blockchain and giving people real hard assets for playing the game means they have two options. Either they can use those assets and carry on playing the game, or they can sell them to someone else who can then get into the game at a sort of level where they want to be. And it's the ability to reward and pay your players for this honor of having them, because we need these gamers, and Web3 allows you to kind of find ways to incentivize people to carry on playing. And obviously the fact that it's kind of an immutable blockchain for things like esports is incredible. There's been a load of cases over the years of people in certain countries around the world, or people that are under 18 winning esports tournaments and then not being able to get paid the winnings because they don't have a bank account, or they can't receive payments in that currency. Whereas when you're doing an esports tournament on blockchain, you get paid as soon as the tournament, so it goes straight into your wallet. It can be written into the smart contract, so anyone can get paid for it.
Well, let me add on top of that. When we first seen Bitcoin after 2008, the people who were most open-minded to it and probably the earliest adopters, I mean, I don't know because I wasn't there necessarily, but the reading that I've done, it was the gamers, because they were already familiar with the fact that there's tokens on any given game, World of Warcraft, RuneScape, whatever you play. I don't know. I don't play games. Those are the ones I played when I was like 13, right? Mm-hmm. But if you can sell that for money on a forum somewhere.
A couple weeks ago?
Dude, someone at the gas station asked me if I was 18, and he was being serious.
Yeah,
so,
I'm not. Yeah, I mean that. I can see it. Come on, man. You got to grow goatee or something.
I can't. I grow a little bit of shadow. I can't do anything. That's all right. I hope I do look 18. I'll run with it. Anyways.
So you're 45 and then it all falls out.
Yeah, it's going to be terrible. What are we getting at here? Oh, so then I was watching another documentary. I forget exactly which one it was, but it was Trump's former chief strategist, Steve Bannon, when he worked at Goldman Sachs. They were actually looking at investing in like the gold mining aspect of different games as a digital currency. So this thought has been around for a long time, just in general in the gaming space.
Mm-hmm.
But blockchain is what made it happen. It's what made that. When we say immutable, it just means it can't be changed. Like it's and it's an object that is going to be in that form forever.
And you've also then got the ability to take that, say it's an NFT from a game, for another developer to come along and build a game and support the NFTs from another game, whether it's through an official partnership or not. And you are seeing games like Gensukishi, which is a Japanese RPG. They're doing partnerships with other games where you can basically mine like tokens and NFTs in one game and then use them in another. There's other projects that are kind of trying to build metaverses with rare commodities in them, which are then doing partnerships with other games. So those commodities are building blocks in other games. You'll have, like, I can see a world where we have a gaming infrastructure where you're playing different games to mine or to acquire digital assets to play in another game and create a whole ecosystem where you can jump between them. And that sounds great. That sounds loads of fun.
Yeah. Now, up to this point, have we seen the adoption in game as many people have predicted and has been expected?
So one of the really interesting things, I wrote an article on this about a month and a half ago, in the user retention in Web3 gaming is 10 times that of Web2. So when people start playing Web3 games, they're 10 times more likely to carry on playing than they were in Web2 because they're getting real assets out of it. When you look at things like DeFi, user retention is going through the floor, especially at the moment. So that's one of the reasons why I'm so bullish about the space. I think one of the big issues that Web3 gaming suffers from is the sort of demonization of blockchain, crypto, and NFTs. There's so many gamers that just see NFTs as being a new way to do microtransactions, and it could be. Just like in all essence, crypto can be the savior of the world, or through CBDCs could be the way that we're all controlled for the rest of our lives and never able to do anything we want ever again. So like we are building this technology that is very dangerous and very powerful, and it's about having the right people involved, which is why I'd echo what Dave was saying about the thing about the space is the people. Like we need people in it that are willing to build for the cause and the mission for what blockchain's meant to do. And that's one of the main reasons why I got into it. Like I won the geographical lottery of being born in the UK to two amazing parents that they worked their asses off, came from literally nothing. Mum was picking up coal in the street in Ireland when she was born, one of 8, did really well. I've not really ever wanted for anything in my life, and I want to use that kind of privileged position to build something that's going to make a difference to other people in the world. And for me, when you look at what can do that, blockchain is the thing. Like blockchain is the way that can actually help disenfranchise people around the world. But we need people to carry on building it that actually believe in that vision rather than just how to make a few extra bucks.
I agree. What were you going to say, Dave?
I totally blanked.
Lost your thought.
Yep.
If you guys have a hard stop, let me know. Otherwise, we can keep going. It's good conversation. So I think
I probably need to go off in like 15 or so.
All right, yeah, that works. We'll hit just about an hour then, because I think we started about 7-8 minutes later.
Mm-hmm.
So that works great. So we hit DAOs, we hit blockchain in game, and talked about NFTs a little bit. What else were we getting at here? One of the
How crappy your internet is.
Questions that I had. Yeah, I know. I got to fix this. This is not good.
Yeah, Akiba was thinking exactly the same thing at the same time.
Probably.
Can you not get yourself like a Starlink or something if you're in a crappy area?
I can. I might have to do that.
I've got one downstairs I'm not using if you want to buy it off me.
We'll see. I don't think I have that kind of money right now.
Yes. Yes.
What criteria would you consider needed to, let me rephrase, for something to be this decentralized? What criteria must it meet? And this is something I'm going to ask in my next stream, but whether it's blockchain, utility projects, whatever it may be, a DAO, what are you looking at as far as like infrastructure, as far as the developing team, how the implementation and maintenance takes place, governance, or is there like one across the board, piece of, I don't know.
I'd say governance if I had to pick one.
Yeah, it's layered, isn't it?
Yeah,
certainly.
Because governance has got to be the most important thing. But I mean, so for me, the best projects and the best way to build in Web3 is not to start decentralized, because you need a core team of people that know what they're doing to build the right thing. But with a system in place that doesn't require trust, requires proof, and reliance on code, that means that it will become decentralized as it grows forward, and that's what you need. And it can be
like
that
Crypto Slate. To be honest with you, you need a company like Crypto Slate that has the end goal to becoming decentralized. People that believe in the end project, they're willing to fund the means to get to the end project, even if on that way they're not going to get incredibly wealthy.
Yeah, because I mean, at the end of the day, if you start completely decentralized, then you end up like having, say, a foundation that still has more control than it probably should do if it's properly decentralized. And we might not believe in those decisions. You have people buying into it that have got different views on where it should go. They might change their view on where it needs to go, and you end up with a lot of infighting throughout it. So for me, like if I'm looking for something that's decentralized, I want something that's started in a centralized manner, with a clear roadmap to how it's going to grow. And I wouldn't be invested in that project until it's getting to that stage either, because that's the stage where then you actually are asking, okay, we think we've built what we thought was good. Now let's send it out, make it decentralized, allow the community to build and grow it from there. And from a governance point of view, I think that's really important. The other part, when you talk about infrastructure, is something like we're already not seeing with Ethereum. Like over 70% of dApps are built on AWS rather than sort of bare metal cloud infrastructure, which can be done. I was consulting for a company called Gateway.fm, and they're building out, they're an RPC provider, which is the connection onto the blockchain for applications. And they're building in a bare metal environment, meaning that their servers can be moved to any hosting environment, or they are completely decentralized. There's another one in the UK called Kudos. They're building out decentralized cloud infrastructure. That's the sort of stuff that I'm the most excited about when it comes to decentralization, because at the moment, like there's Google, there's Azure with Microsoft, and there's Amazon, and they pretty much take up the entirety of the sort of Western internet. So there's very few projects that I would actually view as actually being properly decentralized, due to the fact that either between them and Cloudflare as a DNS solution, there's bottlenecks everywhere.
Yeah, it's a massive infrastructure problem at this point in time.
I would agree.
Like
certainly.
It's why we need people that are like dedicated to the project, that don't need to be making, $150 an hour to work. It's those people. Sadly, the world's built on people, on the backs of people that no one remembers. And those are the people that we need right now more than anything. We need the people that are willing to put the time in to do the infrastructure, to, run the wires, as it were.
Well, I think we're seeing some pull in the background. One thing I did want to run by you guys is the counter argument to the centralization or proof of stake validators in the cloud is, well, if you were to look at the majority of the hash power and any proof of work blockchain, it comes from a single digit number of mining pools, usually like 3, 4, 5 mining pools provide the majority of the hash rate. It's still centralized in that manner. So is there credence to that argument or not, from your perspective?
Yeah, but I mean, inside those pools, you've got all the individual miners and companies within those pools. So like they can still choose to move to a different pool tomorrow if they want to. So there is that needs to be considered.
And it's certainly
depends on the projects.
Distributed when it comes to the geographic area.
Yeah, and some projects are only mined on one pool. Like when you're doing spec mining, for instance, there's some, like currently what I'm spec mining, a project called Nexa. And it's only able to be mined on one pool, and it's some like random obscure Russian pool who I know people that are really close friends with him, like as like they're devs. Like he doesn't speak English apparently, so they're really good friends with him, and they vouch for him. So like I know him like intimately, like he's a really good friend of mine. So like I can trust him, and he trusts this guy with his life. So that's like why I can trust one pool right now with 100% hash rate on Nexa. But there's also like 3 pools that have been working on figuring the code out, but they're just, no one's willing to just give it to them.
So we do have a question from the audience. UK Miners Club writes, panel question: what's your thoughts on hosting on Flux? Public wouldn't know it was decentralized. Does it even matter to general public? So I assume you're referring to something like hosting your website or your workload on a Flux node, which is decentralized cloud token incentivized public infrastructure network.
It's not
Run
about
on Flux.io.
It's not about whether the public cares or not. It's matters whether the solidarity of the project's there. The public's opinion doesn't matter in crypto. And I think every bull run has proven that. I think every bear market has made the people that are all FOMO just like cry a bunch. You know what I mean? But like the core people behind it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it will make a difference to the public when your website doesn't go down when AWS servers in
Yeah,
on the
that-
east
that-
of the US go down, and Facebook, WhatsApp, Netflix are all down, but your website's still up.
Every time I've ever
Let me-
hosted a website, I've hosted it myself. So if my internet was down, it was down. that was about.
Let me add on to that, UK miners, with the competitive rates that they have for hosting, there's also a business solution to be found there. So, hey, if the public doesn't care, well, I'm sure your pocketbook might care more than them. But I mean, you're going to find that the majority of the people in this space, like even many of the ones that watch my channels, they don't give a rat's ass about the principle of the matter that we're discussing right now, whether it be the issues around big tech, censorship, and collusion.
They just want to know how to make money.
Correct.
I mean, the biggest thing with all of this is the fact that the people with the money are the people that are in legacy industry, and they can push their agenda through advertising and through media relationships with legacy media to push the agenda.
Through
Like,
pushing
the way that we
freaking
make
government stipulations.
the way that we make the general public care about a decentralized hosted website is by informing them on what that means. And that's why, say, I'm writing for someone like Crypto Slate. Our goal is to keep our head down during the bear market and hope that through the next bull run that pays dividends, because we want to help educate people into what blockchain is actually about. It's not just about pump and dumps and trying to make a quick buck and investing, because not everyone in the world even has spare money to invest. It's about building a better infrastructure, a fairer infrastructure. And it's been railroaded by a lot of the legacy industries that are trying to make sure they keep control of it. One of the ways they're doing that is by making sure that there's articles written talking about how dumb crypto is. You look like
everybody's saying it's a Ponzi scheme. Everybody on every. It's like, yeah, it's totally a Ponzi scheme. There's no
money
backing
is the
to
biggest
it
Ponzi
whatsoever. Yeah, there's nothing backing it at all. There's no people working on it. There's no devs sitting there fucking slaving away making shit work. Yeah, it's just a Ponzi scheme. It's like, you better get in early. Yeah, that's it. That's the key to crypto, getting in early. Tell that to everyone that bought Pink Chain.
They might not tell you about the US dollar. I bet per dollar amount, or however you'd like to quantify it, in adversely to Bitcoin, however you want to quantify the value, per that value, you're probably spending more energy in total and more resources on that dollar than you would Bitcoin.
Oh yeah, for sure.
How much military power do you need to go into it? All the infrastructure for the banks, for the Federal Reserve, all the people we pay to keep this system going, and you can go on and on and on and on for a system that is being looted and is about to collapse.
But the thing is, it's all obfuscated. So with Bitcoin, you see kilowatt go in, Bitcoin come out. You can put the two prices together, and you can make it seem like crypto is a waste of energy, it's bad for the environment, and it costs too much money. Or you can see it as one of the most efficient forms of generating money, because it's only energy that goes in and it's Bitcoin that comes out. You say you can run a Bitcoin farm with 2 or 3 people once you've got everything up and running. It doesn't require all those people you're just talking about that it requires to run the sort of the dollar. And the thing that people miss with all this is, over the last 120 years, the dollar's down 99% in terms of what you can buy with a dollar. Like, the dollar is a shit coin.
Yeah, my grandmother bought her house, which was a 5-bedroom house with a basement, backyard, porch, front back porch, and like 2 acres in the middle of a city. She paid $2,500 for it. Before she moved out of that house and moved in with my aunt, she sold that house for like $500,000, and that was like 20 years ago. You know what I mean? So it's like the inflation price is just a devaluation price as far as I'm concerned.
But
because
the
people
dollar's
keep
down
printing it
99%. But the only reason that here in the
gold
United
backing.
States we're not completely, the citizens themselves are not completely suffering because of this, is because everywhere else is down 99.97%. So we're slightly better. but we're still going off the cliff right after them.
And people just think about it as things are getting more expensive, as opposed to the fact that their money is worth less. And that's the difference, that they've got control of the narrative. So we need to carry on telling
Oh,
the
I
stories.
just got a $1.50 raise after working here for 5 years. Oh yeah, but bread's $4 a loaf. Milk's $8 a bag. Yeah, that's right, bitches. I said bag.
So someone in chat's just said that most crypto projects are Ponzi's, and very few are worth anything. And that's again just going back to the fact of how early we are in this sort of evolution of crypto. That we need there to be 10,000 projects, because we need to figure out what's working. We need to get what we call like product market fit for blockchain. Do we need 10,000 blockchains in the future? No, I don't think so, unless they're layer 2s or layer 3s built on other things. Do we need them right now? Yeah, probably, because we need to figure out what's right, what's going to work.
There is the aspect that there is a bunch of blockchains right now, and people are trying to figure out codes and algorithms for different solutions. They're trying to find solutions for problems that haven't existed yet and haven't been found a meshing point. But the situation of whether it's a Ponzi is when you get someone that's like pumping it, like say the Jake Paul Zoo tokens, cuff. Like come the hell on. Like anyone that I know that's worth anything, that knows anything about crypto, is invested in it, has any hardware mining it, nobody bought that shit. No one. No one. The only people that bought that were like fanboys and people that know nothing about the crypto industry. So it's the exact same. It's those people that are saying that most of these projects are Ponzi's, but that's not the case. Like out of like, say there's 100,000 projects right now, because there's probably close to 60,000 in the works right now. Out of them, there's, let's say, 200 bad actors, I would say, like that are active right now. I'd say there's about 200 bad actors.
Like probably more
bad projects.
Yeah, I think you're being very generous in terms of.
I'm not saying that they couldn't easily mesh the project with another current existing project. I'm not saying that. I'm saying with the intentions of taking people's money and going, fuck everybody. So, I don't think it's as high as everybody thinks it is.
Well, maybe it doesn't have to be.
I don't think that's where the intention is, at least.
And the real difference is there's scams outside of Web3 everywhere. There's billions of dollars that people have been scammed out of
for solar panels and new furnaces.
Exactly. But with crypto, it's more transparent. It's on chain. You can see the project. Someone can write about it easily. It's not some anonymous project calling people's grandparents, trying to get them to send them gift cards that doesn't have a face. Like, blockchain is sort of a victim of its own benefits and features in that how transparent it is. So you can see all of these scams there and then. And I think for people that are buying into small projects and calling it a scam just because it doesn't work out, because that's also like a thing. These are all startups. If you're buying into a low market cap project, like, do you use what's it called, Kickstarter, or would you invest in your mate's new project that he told you about in a pub, and he needs 100 quid and he's trying to crowdsource funding for his new, I don't know, gym or something? Would you invest in those? If the answer is no, then you probably shouldn't be investing in meme coins either, because you are investing in a project by buying the tokens. And people just see it as, oh, just because other crypto projects went to the moon, then this one must do too because I put my money in it. You just need to understand what you're actually doing when you're investing in crypto, because it's an investment at the end of the day. And I think too many people just think it's free money.
I have a buddy who I was telling to get into crypto back in like 2010, 2011, like just to buy out, like buy some, you know what I mean? Like get a bunch of liquid cash, and it's just like, just buy it, hold it. If you're just keeping money in your safe, just buy it and hold it. Oh, it's just a scam. It's just a scam. He ended up buying in when it was like 71,000 Canadian a Bitcoin, like the absolute crest of the peak, and goes in and buys like 40 grand worth. And then comes over to me and goes, like 6 months later, comes over to me and goes, oh, I'm fucking down like all this money. You told me to put this. It's like, nah, man, I told you to put it in when it was going up because I knew what the projects were. You went in because of FOMO, thinking, oh, yeah, all these people are saying it's going to hit $100,000 for a Bitcoin. It's like, no, That ain't happening. Come on, like it's not like follow the markets. Like it's the same patterns. The difference is like here's a hot take again. I guess I think that the bull run this time is going to happen a lot sooner than everyone's thinking. I think it's not going to be 2024 or 20.
I think it's going to be 2026.
I don't think so. I'm saying wait till like June or July and be surprised.
All right, we
Well,
have conflicting opinions, so I want you both to break this down, and then we'll bring an end to this podcast.
Oh, we
do you
got
want
to
to go
go
first,
quiet.
or do you want to?
Whoever wants to go first.
After you, Akiba.
So, I mean, you've got to look at the macro picture of everything, and it really depends on what happens this year. If there ends up being like a war between China and the US, I actually think that could be massively bullish for Bitcoin. You saw it happen during the start of the Ukraine war. You saw gold follow, then come down, and Bitcoin led. And it also depends on what you're defining as a bull market. Do I think we'll have the bottom of the market in 2023? Yes. So you could then argue that the bull run starts in 2023 because if the bull run is everything after the bottom of the market, then I completely agree with you. But
I'm saying 70% from where we're at right now, at least.
I think we'll hit the bottom. I think we'll hit the bottom. I think we'll hit it soon. I think
we're gonna hit like 8,000 to 9,000 Bitcoin is what I think personally. After all this FUD and crap with FTX and the grayscale crap that's going on right now, like that's huge. Like if they have to liquidate all the GBTC, like that's insane. Like that's insane. Like you're gonna be able to pick up Bitcoin for like fractions. What it's
so at 6 p.m. GMT. So whatever time it is where you are now, pretty much it's 6:15 here now. Our head researcher is doing the weekly market report, which is how the GBTC premium, the grayscale trade, ruined Barry Silber and his DCG empire and took crypto lending platforms with them. It's an incredible, I edited it this morning. It's an incredible article. And that, I think, is one of the most important things that you can read this weekend when it comes out tomorrow, because it really highlights for me, which is the biggest potential catalyst for a further leg down at the moment. And that is the whole DCG thing. Because if they can't get themselves out of where they're at, then it's going to be massive for Bitcoin. And I think that could flush out the rest of the weekends. And that is where I agree. I don't know where the bottom's going to be, but I could see that leg down being the end of it. And then from there, I'm just looking at historic cycles, so nothing necessarily is going to be the case. But when you look at you need to look at things like what I tend to analyze is the bottom of the market to the price at the next halving, the price at the halving until the top of the market, and then from there until the bottom of the market, and looking at where the halvings were in each time, and they're expanding fairly systematically throughout. And on that basis, if it continues in a similar trend, then
there wasn't the utilization of cryptocurrency or the market or the space at the last bull runs. That's what you're not accounting for.
No, I am accounting for it.
Like, and now there's like a utilization for it. There's a platform for the everyday person. They're making cryptocurrency like ASIC submersion tanks for the home. That like Octominer makes a submersion tank that they just released on Christmas or something, slightly before Christmas, and like you can put an ASIC in it. It kills all the noise, and then it sublimates the heat through liquid cooling into the room. But they're also like environmental controlled and so forth.
Dave,
so, like you have more everyday people picking up, and not just like home miners grabbing.
Can you quickly elaborate on why you think the bull cycle will come in 2026?
Me?
Yeah, he thinks 2023.
I think it's gonna like not to the peak this year, but like I think that it's going to go in a way that people haven't expected it. I think because of the crypto utilization. I think that there's a stableness behind certain platforms. Like everyone always like causes all this crap with CZ and shit, but like I don't have a problem with him. I don't have a problem with the way he runs the platform. I don't have a problem with all of his reserves. I don't have a problem with any of it. And it's solid. I don't have a problem with Coinbase, with the exception of like they kicked me off their platform without telling me why. That kind of pissed me off. But aside from that, like I don't think they're just going to go poof. You know what I
All right.
mean?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
There's people that are now getting interested in the space in the bear market, whereas like before, people don't start getting interested in the space until the bull run.
Yeah,
Like,
but if you look
it
at like
falls
Google
off.
Trends and stuff and overall traffic in the space, it is still massively down at the moment. And my thesis for why we're going to be 2025 maybe is whenever you look at any of the halvings, the halving event in itself isn't usually a catalyst. It's the start.
I'll
of a
bet you
catalyst.
10,000 Jasmine. Let's go.
I don't know how much that is.
Doesn't matter. 10,000 Jasmine. Let's go.
I mean, I might be betting you like
10,000.
several million quid.
Yeah, fuck, maybe. By the time you got to pay up 10,000 Jasmine, let's go. This means you got to go buy 10,000 Jasmine right now for dirt and hodl it till then.
Well,
yeah, okay.
All right.
I'll go buy some.
Done.
till next.
Done. Joe, you can get in on this too, man. 10,000 Jasmine bet.
I'm good.
Come on, when's your
stick
bet
out.
for the bull run? When's their bet for the bull run? Come on, 10,000 Jasmine. Look it up. Look at the price, and just come on. You can cough it up. It's like literally, you spend more on Diet Pepsi a week. Come on.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah,
So,
me too.
look,